I'm Haley Taylor, and you're listening to the Rough Draft Diaries. On this episode of the Rough Draft Diaries, we're looking outdoors and to open spaces on empty walls.
My name is Dean Davis, and I am a local artist, muralist for the city of Toledo.
Dean Davis has been practicing art since the 3rd grade, studying in Toledo Public Schools. He's proud to say his learned art techniques were not formally taught, but observed throughout 30 years of experience in tattoo art, graffiti art, and mural art. For most of his career, Dean was a professional artist. That was up until 2005 when he had a young family and needed insurance. So he entered the corporate world, working for the railroad, which is ironic as Dean expressed his artwork at a young age through spray painting railroad cars.
No, you're right. And that's one of the things that was very weird is while I was in the corporate world with beautiful artwork that was traveling through rail yards, not many of those people in the hierarchy seen it as beautiful. To you, that could be the most beautiful thing. And to the masses, it could be the most beautiful thing. Unfortunately, to the wrong set of eyes in the wrong position, that is a nuisance. And it needs to be extinguished. And I think that right there is a hard formula for me because, sometimes the masses do have a better voice than an individual. And not saying every time, but I think that there was something I seen that on the railroad that really bothered me. I seen artwork getting covered up, and it wasn't doing no harm. It wasn't vulgar, but it was just getting covered up because it was artwork. And that's scary to think that.
The masses have shifted the public's opinion on public art. 20 years ago, mural art was considered illegal. Now, cities are commissioning artists to paint their walls to create an artistic identity. And this has shifted Dean's identity as well. Just about 8 months ago, he decided to go full-time as an artist, working on projects like the Glass City River Wall mural, a Muhammed Ali, Mike Tyson mural for Soul City Boxing, a mural for fallen officer Anthony Dia, and just recently, a mural for 10-year-old Demia Ezel, the most recent victim of gun violence in Toledo. All of these murals are connected by Dean's passion to create conversation in his work, especially conversations revolving around his hometown of Toledo.
Okay, so we want murals to exist in the Toledo area, which is a fact. We also want a narrative to try to help combat violence. That's a fact. So what can we do to put those two worlds together? Well, you have to talk to the people that are involved in the violence of what their story is. You can't understand that living on the sidelines. So those narratives have to come from conversations with people that are incarcerated, that have done time or are doing time for violence. And we have to talk to those people, question these acts that they did, of why. And from there, you might be able to get a better narrative of what that mural should say then. And I think that then becomes a form of conversation. Is it mental illness? Well, if it's mental illness, then let's take the stance of a mural to give people an understanding of what coping means.
For Dean, coping means being heard, to have conversations, but to then create an edifice to those conversations through public art. And he's looking to pass the spray paint can or paintbrush to other hands, younger hands. He's currently working on a program with inner city kids in juvenile correction facilities, looking to give them an outlet to create public art as a way to communicate their own frustrations and to connect with others who feel the same.
At the end of the day, I don't believe that I'm going to ever stop violence, but I will say that I can help maybe get a kid to be heard. And if I can have him heard, maybe then he doesn't have to choose a violence, that you don't have to choose that route.
Dean is currently working with the city and the Arts Commission to get this new unnamed program rolling. But he's hoping to have new artwork up starting in the spring, specifically choosing areas that might not get the same amount of attention as other mural sites, neighborhoods like Junction or East Toledo. It's a push and a passion for Dean to cover forgotten walls with new conversations.
I think that the future in Toledo is to really capitalize on a lot of the square footage in the walls that we have. And not just in the art district, which is a beautiful area of Adams Street, but like really branch that out into different areas of the city. Also have artwork that is intended for that community in that area. So whether it's just the history of the area, if it's a combination of the history in the area or the situations that have developed that area and where that area currently is, let's not ignore it. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. Let's talk about, what has happened to this area, because maybe then those voices will be heard. Maybe then those voices, once it's been said or exposed, maybe people can move forward with it better.
It's about perspective. I think that's something that drives me as an artist, to find purpose in things that might not be being read right.
I mean, we're at a great capacity of people in the city of Toledo. We're in a beautiful position because we're big enough to house some amazing people, but at the same time, we're small enough to be able to see and enjoy it.
I'm Haley Taylor, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Rough Draft Diaries.